Good morning, everybody, from cloudy East Central Alabama. Don't mind my hair. I got to get a haircut, y'all. I got hay head. You know, when you put your hat on, your hair sticks out off the side and it's like hay. That's what I got. But I wanted to show you a problem I had with my RK24 tractor, and then tell you how I dreaded getting in touch with service and sales and support, because you hear horror stories on how stuff like that goes, and then show you what the final resolve was to the issue. So let me spin the camera around and show you what happened. If you watched any of my other videos, you noticed, and it was on the grapple video, I had these big fittings like this that came off of the diverter. And you know, I never really paid that much attention to it, never did, because like I've said before, I'm new to not really new to tractors, but new to some of the hydraulic stuff on them, like the grapple. But well, let me tell you what happened. I was clearing out some limbs and stuff where a tree had blown down in the yard, and my fitting started leaking real bad. Well, I tried to tighten it down, that didn't help, and it started leaking worse. So I took it off, and I noticed, let's see if I've got the other one close by. This little fitting right here, it went into the diverter and then into the back side of the other coupling. Now I want you to look right here at the top. You see how stripped out those are? That end was in the diverter, the good clean threads, and this end with the stripped out threads was inside of the coupling. Now what had happened, and I didn't do that, and when I took it off, I immediately took a picture of it, and I got in touch with the RK folks, and I didn't strip these threads out. Matter of fact, I had sent this coupling down to my local Napa store. I was in the middle of the job. I sent my nephew down, and my buddy at Napa called. He said, "Did your tractor come like this?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Those are not the right type threads." He said, "These threads," which they're, and I hope the camera's focusing. Wait a minute. They are, you know, they're fine cut threads, and they were going into this coupling right here, these National pipe threads. Now notice the inordinate amount of Teflon tape on there. The reason that Teflon tape is on there is because the threads inside this spinning nut aren't the same threads that's on this fitting right here. So whoever installed this put a pile of Teflon tape on there just to hold it on. And my buddy at Napa said, "I don't see how your tractor has stayed together like that." He said, "I have called everybody I know to try to find, like, if those are metric or whatever threads that go to National pipe thread on the other side." So I took plenty of pictures, and I got in touch with RK. And folks, this is where talking to people like they're human beings, and don't just hop in and expect the worst. You know, I was expecting the worst. I was expecting, you know, no, that's not on us, and you know, you're gonna have to bite the bullet and fix that when we don't know what to do. We don't know how it happened, blah blah blah. That's the only thing running through my mind, right? So I made my mind up when I called, and this is where you got to make a choice on how you're going to act in a situation. So I'm going to be nice to these folks, and I'm going to talk to them. So I sent them plenty of pictures, and the end result was and it took them a day to do it. So you know, I was patient. I figured they got to track all this down. The next day, I got an email at 6:41 in the morning from a guy in Ohio at RK shop up there. I don't know how it made it all the way up the chain to him, but he said, "Look." His email said, "Call me when you get a chance." So I called him, and hang on just a second. So I called him, and I thought, surely he don't mean call him at 6:41 in the morning. So I rolled the dice. So I punched up his number. He answered the phone, told him who I was. He said, "Hey Kelly," he said, "look, if I can send you these parts," he said, "can you put them on?" I said, "Yeah, I can." I said, "as long as, you know, they match up like these other ones. I said, which is what I don't understand, is how you can have like metric on one side, National pipe. He said, this is clearly a problem on our side. And I stopped for a minute. I said, excuse me? He said, that's clearly a problem on our side. He said, that's not even the right size hoses that go on that RK24 for that grapple. He said, I'm going to send you everything you need to get your tractor back in service. I said, well, do I need to send anything back? He said, don't worry about it. I said, well, can I at least pay freight? He said, don't worry about it. You'll have it tomorrow. And I thought, man, this is some kind of great service. And I told him, I said, I got a YouTube channel. I don't do a whole lot on it, but I do a lot of RK stuff on it. I'm going to give you a plug and just tell everybody what great service I got. So his name's Shane. I'm sorry, I don't remember your last name. I have to look back on my email. But anyway, sure enough, the next morning, there's a box sitting on my back steps. And I guess he had Santa and the elves bring it down overnight, because when I got up, it was sitting there. And let me show you what all I got. He told me, he said, I want you to go ahead and do away with those big elbows. So I got the right size hydraulic fittings. The hydraulic fittings that came on the tractor, let me show you something. Look how big those are compared to what's supposed to be on here. I got the right size fittings, and I got the right size hose. Now look how long that hose is. That's about 3 foot of hose compared to what I did have on there, which was all of that. I think what happened, they got plumbing for RK 37 or 55 mixed up with my grapple and put it on there. But anyway, shout out to RK for taking care of their customers. And I know a lot of you are going to say, well, my shop's not good as that and this and that and blah blah blah. Well, I never dealt with my shop. I got in touch with a guy off the, I think it was RK Tractor Guy on Facebook, and he sent it up the chain, and in a couple of days, like I said, I'm back in service. I'm about to hook it all back up. But just remember one thing, dealing with these folks, they don't know you, you don't know them, and don't expect the worst, and just treat everybody kind. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, I don't know. It worked for me, and like I said, I'd already made my mind up. I was expecting the absolute worst. I was expecting to be out of service with a tractor I hadn't had but a little over a year, but instead, the next day, I'm back in service. Anyway, I wanted to pass that along to y'all. I hope you have a great day. I think we're about to have a little bit of rain down here in Alabama, so I got to wrap this up and get the tractor back in the shed. See y'all later. No sooner had I got my RK repaired from the hydraulic issue that I was driving, and I pressure washed it, cleaned it up real good and everything, and I started to drive it back to the shed, and listen to this. You hear that awful racket? Banging and clunking? Listen. And I had about done panicked until I thought, I gotta check this out. Let me show you what I found. Listen to this. I raised it up with the loader arm so I could get the weight off the front wheel. Listen, hear that? Tractor a little over a year old, should not sound like that. So you know what I found it was? Here I was, not practicing what I preach, thinking the worst, and all it is this plastic cover that goes across the shaft for your four-wheel drive. Listen now, I fixed it. I fixed it just like that.